Hello and welcome back to Redirecting. There was a very tragic story shared with me this morning coming out of Michigan, Warren, Michigan to be exact. Many years ago, I used to work in Warren, Michigan. And at the time that I worked there, it was a majority white neighborhood. But fast forward all of these years later, almost 20 years later, you have black people, young black people living in Warren, Michigan, but there is still a really big white population there. So one of the people who was witness to this tragic story that I'm going to tell you about is a white neighbor. A young man, 18 years old, Kevin Dixon, is facing multiple charges. Kevin Dixon, he's an 18-year-old who got into an argument with his girlfriend, India Mackey, around 5:30 p.m. on Tuesday inside of a van in his driveway on Shirley Avenue. Mackey was recording Dixon as he pointed a black handgun at her, threatened her, and loaded bullets into the gun, police said. "You think I'm playing, huh? Gonna hit you with these hollow tip .45s. Gonna eat your expletive up," Dixon can be heard saying in the video. Dixon shot and killed Mackey shortly after she finished recording, officials said. He drove the van into East Point with Mackey's body still inside, according to authorities. He was pulled over for driving erratically, police said. Dixon is charged with first-degree murder, carrying a concealed weapon, and a felony firearm violation. He faces up to life in prison if convicted on murder charges. 5 years in prison for the concealed weapon charge and 2 years in prison for felony firearm violation. Now, another story states that his mom was also arrested when she showed up at the police department. They're saying that she is an accessory after the fact because he called her and asked her if she can hide the weapon at the house. Now, there's a different spin that I'm going to add to this. I want to ask you all something. I want you to really look at the evidence that we see so far. I'm going to play a video of a neighbor who heard what was going on, and I want you to give me your opinion on it. First, I'm going to go ahead and play some videos, and then I will be right back and give you some additional commentary.
It's a real cloud.
It's a cloud hanging over this father, Joseph Polk, after learning of the murder of his 20-year-old daughter, India Mackey, and the alleged killer, her 18-year-old boyfriend. Why would this 18-year-old want to kill your daughter?
Selfishness.
Tuesday, about 6 p.m., here on Shirley Street in the 10 Mile and Hayes area of Warren. India and her boyfriend had only been living here a few months. Neighbors described them as quiet, but not on this night, as a loud shot rang out.
I went to my porch, I looked over, I hear this guy frantically, "Where'd you get hit? Where'd you get hit?"
With that, Tony sees India, who was shot, get into a white van, and Tony calls 911.
I seen a white van tear out of the driveway, beeped its horn a couple times, and it took down towards Hayes.
Warren police say the van was pulled over by East Point police near 9 Mile and Gratiot because the boyfriend was driving carelessly. India was taken to the hospital, where she died. The boyfriend taken into custody.
I didn't like the young man. I got the wrong vibes from him. And I told her, I talked to her. I constantly talked to her. I was like, he's not the one for you, baby.
India is one of 8 children. Her father says that they had only been dating for about a year, and she was killed just hours after her 20th birthday.
Yeah, it's the day after her birthday. She just turned 20. She wasn't 24 hours.
Warren police tell me that they are submitting a request to the prosecutor's office for a charge, and that charge will be murder in the first degree.
I try to pride myself on being a protector, but you can't protect your kids from who they interact with. I did. I tried.
In Warren, Charlie Langton, Fox 2 News.
The idea that he's pulling the bullet out, wiping his fingerprints off, showing it to her.
It chills you to the bone, says Macomb County Prosecuting Attorney Eric Smith, and I agree.
You think I'm playing, huh?
Okay.
You think I'm playing, huh? Hit you with this big 4-5 hollow tips, gonna eat your up.
Those angry, hate-filled words and despicable actions from her boyfriend.
Now, as we saw in the video, the environment of what was going on didn't seem to be a heated environment. In my opinion, it seemed like they were almost in play mode. Even though what he was saying were violent words, he wasn't saying them in a way to where she felt threatened, because she's recording. If she felt threatened, I don't think she would have been sitting there. I believe she probably would have ran. It would be interesting to see the full video instead of them cutting it off right when he said his words and then it's being cut off. It almost seems as if he didn't intend to shoot her. And I say this only because he says, "Where were you hit? Where were you hit?" This is what the neighbor said.
Shot rang out.
I went to my porch. I looked over. I hear this guy frantically, "Where'd you get hit? Where'd you get hit?"
Why would he be asking her where was she hit? Why would he be asking her that if he was trying to kill her intentionally? Now, I could be seeing something different, but I want to give you all something else to look at. I do understand that there is violence in the Black community. I talk about it all the time, especially against our women. It's deplorable. But I'm trying to look at this situation from what I've seen reported. So far, what I've seen reported from the news, okay, he said these words to her, and they say that they were violent words. Yes, the words were violent, but the way in which he said it didn't sound as if he was intending to shoot her. It almost sounds like his weapon may have discharged by mistake. This is what it's sounding like to me, because the neighbor, he asked her, "Where were you hit? Where were you hit?" As if he wasn't pointing at her to hit her at all, as if he wasn't trying to hit her at all, as if he wasn't trying to shoot her. Especially them being so close in the car together, you would think that someone shooting you would know where they shot you. If they were going for the face or the chest, he said it almost as if the weapon discharged and he didn't intend for it to happen.
During the reported post-mortem interview, Dixon claimed that he and Mackey were parked in a Dodge minivan in the driveway of his residence. Dixon stated that Mackey was in the driver's seat with him being in the right front passenger seat. Dixon stated that he had a black Ruger 9mm handgun in his right jacket pocket. Dixon stated that he removed the handgun from his pocket and set the gun on his lap with the muzzle pointing towards Mackey for approximately 10 minutes. Dixon stated that he and Mackey talked and possibly verbally disagreed prior to parking in the driveway. Dixon stated that Mackey then became curious about the handgun and wanted to know about its function. Dixon stated that he removed the clip from the handgun and began to touch the safety. Dixon stated that he did not know there was a bullet still in the chamber of the handgun. Dixon stated that he touched the trigger with the gun then, quote, going off. Dixon claimed that he realized he then shot Mackey. Dixon stated he panicked, exited the vehicle, went to the driver's side, pushed Mackey in the passenger seat, and began to drive for help, despite not knowing the location of the hospital. Dixon did not contact 911. During a further interview with Dixon, he informed detectives that Mackey had a video recorded of him on her cell phone while he was holding the gun just prior to the shooting. Detectives performed a download of Mackey's cell phone pursuant to a search warrant. From Mackey's phone, detectives viewed a video which was recorded on 11/19/19 at 17:11 hours and lasted approximately 33 seconds. In this recording, Dixon can be viewed holding a black handgun while seated in the right front passenger seat of the Dodge. With the handgun in his hand pointed in the direction of Mackey, Dixon can be heard saying to Mackey, quote, "You think I'm motherfucking playing. You think I'm playing." Dixon can then be viewed loading bullets into the magazine of the gun, saying, quote, "These big 4.5 hollow point tips going to eat your ass up," end quote. As Dixon is preparing to load the last bullet, he is observed accessing a napkin from the glove compartment and wiping his hands and the bullet. Dixon then asked Mackey, quote, Why is you recording me for? End quote. The video then ends. Dixon admitted that Mackey was shot a few moments after this recording ends. Your Honor, for Mr. Dixon, we are requesting following charges: homicide, murder, first degree, weapons, felon firearm, and weapons carrying concealed.
The court finds there's probable cause for all three violations. Your name, please?
Captain Antonio Dixon.
Mr. Dixon, you're charged with premeditated murder, murder first degree. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
You understand it's punishable by up to life in prison?
Yes, sir.
You understand you're also charged with committing a felony while using a firearm?
Yes, sir.
You understand that's punishable by up to 2 years in prison to run consecutively and preceding any term of imprisonment you may get for the underlying felony?
Yes, sir.
You understand you're also charged with carrying a concealed weapon?
Yes, sir.
You understand it's punishable by up to 5 years in prison and carries fines that cost any amount of $2,500?
Yes, sir.
You have the right to the assistance of an attorney at all proceedings. You have the right to trial, including a trial by jury when required by law. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney and conviction of the charged offense can result in incarceration, the court will appoint an attorney to represent you. The court will set this for a probable cause conference on December 5th and a preliminary examination on December 12th, both at 8:45 a.m. and both in front of Judge Sabal. Do you want the court to appoint an attorney for you, or are you going to hire one on your own?
A court-appointed attorney.
The court will refer your matter to the Judicial Aid Office of the Macomb County Circuit Court. Will be in charge of processing the paperwork to appoint an attorney to represent you. Detective Gajewski is to bail. Your comments, please.
Your Honor, obviously this is a very, very serious charge. Mr. Dixon has one warrant out of the 67th District Court in Flint for an unpaid traffic ticket. His criminal history shows a dismissed domestic violence case out of this court, as well as a already dismissed misdemeanor MDOP. Given the nature of the charges, I would respectfully request no bond.
In setting bail, I do look at the seriousness of these offenses. Mr. Dixon, as Detective Gajewski indicated, these are very serious offenses, particularly the first-degree murder charge, which is punishable by up to life in prison. As Detective Gajewski indicated, you do have somewhat of a criminal history, although it's not extensive. However, if these allegations are true, then you are a dangerous person and someone from whom the public needs to be protected. I'm concerned about a risk of flight. Not only do you have a warrant issued for your arrest, as Detective Gajewski indicated, but you're charged, as indicated, with an offense punishable by up to life in prison, which gives you every reason to not come to court. But for the record, you live in Warren?
Yes.
Do you have a job?
No.
All right.
I actually supposed to have been starting work this week, but I haven't started yet, so I claim no job.
As far as I know, you don't have a drug problem or anything like that that would prevent you from coming to court. I don't know what the likelihood of conviction is of these offenses. All those factors taken into account by the court, bail will be denied. Your attorney will contact you prior to your next court date. You're all set, sir. Thank you.
And as he's telling the story to the officers, that was another thing. He said something about his hand being on the trigger. That's one of those things. This is why people need to learn gun safety. You never put your finger on the trigger unless you're intending to shoot someone. What it seems like to me, two young people in the vehicle. She didn't seem like she was fearing for her life because they were having some sort of conversation, and it didn't quite seem like she was afraid. If she saw the gun, why was she sitting there while he's cleaning off the bullets, loading it up, and she was recording? Why not run if she felt threatened? So I'm wondering if this was an accident, family. I really wish they would let us see more of the video, because it's quite possible he didn't intend to shoot her, which is why the neighbor heard him saying, "Where were you hit?" And then him speeding down the road erratically, putting her in the passenger seat. Now, it didn't say that he dumped her on the sidewalk or on the ground or anything like that. He put her in the passenger seat. Was he rushing her to the hospital? If he wanted to simply flee the scene, why didn't he just leave her body on the ground and run? This is just me analyzing things, family, because that neighbor's testimony really made it seem like the young man did not intend to shoot her. Now, my opinion about all of this is the fact that he should not have been playing with the weapon in the first place. They should not have been in that situation. But because they were, she's dead. Reckless use of that weapon, she is dead. She lost her life at the hands of her boyfriend. Now the father, he is having regrets because he told his daughter he didn't care for this young man. And also, he told his daughter that he didn't like the young man's character. But I can't help but wonder if this wasn't intended to be a murder, but was a silly accident from two young people who should not have been in that situation. I'm not exactly sure that it looks like she was fearing for her life as she was recording. Because if he hadn't even loaded the weapons and the bullets, and he was sitting washing or wiping the bullets off, they said wiping his fingerprints off. I'm not exactly sure if this story has been framed right. I think if we can see more of the video, they're cutting it off right after he said the words that he said. I would like to see more video, in which I'm going to see if there's more. Right now I'm seeing what news channels are saying and what they are reporting about this. But apparently, the young woman didn't run from the vehicle because she didn't believe that he was a threat. Again, it goes back to the neighbors. That just adds a whole other layer to it. Was he driving erratically because he was trying to get her to a hospital? Police pulled him over beforehand, but if he really wanted to hurt her, wouldn't he have just did what he did, not even bothered to put her body in the passenger seat, but merely just left her there and fled for his life? But he took her with him, and he was driving erratically, trying to go somewhere. And the mother, I'm not exactly sure that arresting her, because it was said that he called her and asked her to hide the weapon. But did she hide the weapon, or was it just a call that was made to her? I'm trying to figure out. I need more details, family. I'm not trying to be on the side of this young man and his mother, but so far what I have seen, it seems like this may have been an accident. Now, if the mother indeed was trying to cover up a real and true crime, then absolutely, I can see her being arrested. But if all she did was accepted a call and she didn't move in that direction at all to hide a weapon, because everything was happening so fast, it seems like he pulled off with the body and was going somewhere really fast and erratically. And all of this unfolds. He gets pulled over by the cops in the process. So was the mother trying to help him cover up something? Did she even know what happened at that point? It will be interesting to know more details. Of course, we know that things could be presented to us in a way that will, because when I initially saw this story, I must admit that I was really upset, and I still am, because this young woman lost her life tragically. But I was saying to myself, another case of domestic violence, something so senseless, and the whole 9 yards. This young woman, this beautiful young woman, lost her life at the hands of her boyfriend. That's where I was with all of this, but it was something about the way the neighbor reported what he heard and what he saw that made me look at this a little differently. When I looked at the video of them inside of the car, it didn't sound like a serious altercation was happening. It didn't sound like what we see when there's a domestic violence situation where there's yelling and screaming and anger and rage. I didn't see all of that in the video. It seemed like it was almost I don't want to call it a playful moment because she's dead, okay? But I don't know if you all remember, there was a situation years ago where this black woman was playing with a gun, and it was a man in the passenger side and a man in the back. And as she's playing with a gun, she ended up pulling the trigger by mistake, and it shot her friend in the head. They were just messing around in the car. That's what this reminded me of. And they actually showed where the bullet hit him and he just kind of flopped over. It wasn't intentional. She did it by mistake. And so the thing that's going to get him are his words. This young man in this case, his own words are going to get him, because even though he may have said it in a way that didn't sound like he was trying to be threatening or intimidating, but simply just uttering some words, anything you say can and will be used against you. That's how it works. They say anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. And so when he made that statement about the hollow points, he said, "You think I'm playing, huh?" You see how he said that? Even how he said that, "You think I'm playing, huh? Gonna hit you with those hollow tip 45s. Gonna eat your expletive up." He definitely needs to be in trouble, because you don't play with guns. You don't play with a person's life with guns. But it would be interesting to see if he was really trying to kill her. Okay, family, look into this more and give me your opinion in the comment section. We can't say for sure in either direction at this point until we see more, but I'm just going off of what I've seen so far, okay? And you all know that I am not trying to defend this young man in any way. I'm just trying to call it like it is. I'm trying to keep it real. So let me know what you think in the comments section. This is tragic either way. With that, I'll say shalom. Be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.